Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The late one this evening, ladies and gents. Proclamation news and gatherance with the Flux News in the second Monday of the month, 14th of September. Monday, isn't it? Yes. Welcome, welcome with the Flux News with the prodigious, the prominent professor, Proclamation news and gatherance. I've had some massive discussions all over the UK, massive debates, talking about BLM, not just only Black Lives Matter. The reason why they're asking for help, obviously, um, the government organisation's been trying to get thrown out through an ASBO organisation, but I'm still to, to differ that it should still be supported. I think it should still be supported. As we know, all sides of the political parties are headstrong in their way of thinking. You've got Labour Party have been fascist and have been extremists, and we've seen ASBOs also in their affiliation. I'm three quarters white and one quarter black. I still support BLM to a certain degree. I support BLM to a certain degree, absolutely. Obviously, there's stuff that's been going on in the US is a police matter that started in 2012 when the police killed an innocent 13-year-old. That's why BLM started. Obviously, it's been outraged for the Floyd incident. All more shop windows got blown up out of proportion. But then everyone's just jumped on the bandwagon. It's gang related. It's gang related. Is what is good and bad in all ethnicities. You know, a political movement should be set up. You know, in an outrage of something happening, you're going to jump on the bandwagon, whatever race, from all directions over the globe. Oh, kicked off the LBC radio chat station earlier. I don't think they kicked me off because I wasn't in my right. I think they kicked me off for my own safety for arguing against other commitments. Tony Blair was a fascist, was was an extremist. You know, I know the meanings. I'm like an encyclopedia. The reason why I'm like an encyclopedia, I've got my own encyclopedia. I've got my own Oxford Dictionary. I've got my own political dictionary. I've got my own law dictionary. I study law. I study politics. I've got all the dictionaries for what the meanings, but I write down the notes I need to know about why I'm arguing the case. If I was to go to court for being an ASBO over my political choice, it's not a political choice. It's a political um, argument I'm trying to support. Support to a certain extent of why BNM matters. It matters to me because I've been put in this position of knowledge, characteristics, courage, through also support through um, you know different ethnicities. We eat kebabs using a mobile phone device. I'm using the internet service. I'm using I'm using BT internet actually, British Telecoms. But it doesn't necessarily mean run through Black Lives. But Acer computers, where's that come from? A mobile phone device, Hawaii. Everyone's ripping these people off and not realising, mate, it's laughable because you probably driving down the road two out euros back eat Chinese at the weekend. You don't know where your alcohol comes from. Let's be serious about the matter, rather than just jumping to conclusions. People don't actually understand the real meaning of politics. That's the worrying thing. That's the worrying thing of society nowadays. If you all if you all got on as one and understand the way the world should be about equalities, then it would all get on. It would all get on. There'd be no war. There'd be no discrimination against society. Anyway, moving on. Sir Keir Starmer. I'm not sure what I make of Sir Keir Starmer. He's backing Tony Blair. But let's not mock Tony Blair too much because he did do some good things. But although he was a fascist, started on Iran, Iraq, and when he was confronted, he was not in the nation. I mean, if you're standing as Prime Minister, you back the nation, not hide, do you? I mean, he done a Simon bin Laden to himself. He hid. He hid. He hid. He ran away from the country, left Britain at risk. What Parliament got blown up due to his actions? You're strong with your thoughts, but then your actions you hide from your own actions. They say fight fear or flight fear. He flighted his own fear. He made the fear himself with his own actions. Then he was gone. Tony Blair, another one. A lot of people like Tony Blair for a certain reason. We like different political things for different reasons. Obviously, the Muslim culture like Jeremy Corbyn. You can see why. Anyone, I like Muslims as well. I like Muslim. I like all cultures, but I do like Muslim. My granddad was a Muslim, but Jeremy Corbyn, he didn't like the Jews. So again, he was a fascist to some certain degree. Um, we're trying to understand and delve in politics, see the reason why we're supporting these different governments. Is my volume going okay? I'm hoping my got volume going okay before I start. It's only going to be a short one this evening. It's only a short case. I do like LBC radio. I'm not upset that I'm banned till tomorrow for my political interests. Political facts to an extent because I always fight myself out of a wet paper bag. I'm in the family judiciary without a solicitor because I know my knowledge. I've always known my conscience. If you know your conscience and your political views and interests are correct, keep fighting. Don't give up. A voice matters. Our opinions matter. When your voice and opinions matter and a lot of people support it, it becomes facts. But don't listen to someone else's opinions or point of views because your view matters. I studied I've been studying religion all through my academic year and throughout a lot of years. I've done media studies at school since 1995. So I've got I like lots of barbaric laws. Don't get me wrong, because I find it gives a reciprocated welfare to society of father's rights, having a bit of both, having a bit of knowledge of both. You know, having a bit of knowledge of both, definitely. I think father's rights in the barbaric law have a bit more they're a bit more give and take for the father's rights. There's not much support in the youth. I think they're trying to push it through to get a bit more support to make it more amicable and reciprocated between women. Women always take charge. Women always take charge of parenting responsibilities. It's about to change. Time's about to change. Child abuse, isn't it? As we all know. Whichever shape or form you look at it, it's child abuse. If the court agree with it or not, it's child abuse. If you're sitting there fluent as they, trying to better yourself, better. I was about to say better your jurisdiction. Yeah, I am trying to better my jurisdiction. I'm trying to broaden my horizon. Absolutely. We all do. We all try and better ourselves every day. Doesn't matter if you're an electrician, you want to better yourself, you're going to get more work, you're going to do more jobs. It doesn't matter if you're a housing estate agent, you're going to get more houses in to let out, to make more money, to make more profit. You're going to get better custom, better feedback. I want to get better feedback from my radio presenter. I want people to acknowledge it and go, actually, he's talking some good sense. Why isn't it in a bigger presentation like LBC or anything? This is what I like. I'd like to build this platform myself, proclamation and gatherance. Start off on my own, build it up. It's been like I say, it's been four more cases of COVID-19 in Tenzin. I think there's something like 16,464 people in the population of Tenzin over the last 6 days. Four cases over the last 6 days. Lockdown measures are getting put down again, as we know. 6 at a gathering. A lot of people were arguing the case on that. They're doing the right thing, but again, I say they should have shut down pubs first. A lot of people are saying, "Oh yeah, but all schools, we had all the gathering at schools, and um, I suppose gyms and stuff like that." But gatherings is when the narcotics and alcohol and people acting stupid. They're keeping the policing down. They're keeping the control of the people down, which is good. Absolutely good. You can't mock him for doing that. Boris Johnson also, he's delivering what he said. I think they're talking about I think it's something like £60 billion of that vaccine, not vaccine, a swab test. It's not 100% accurate. We can't mock a man for trying. If it was Tony Blair again, or if it's Jeremy Corbyn, it's not. You can't mock a prime minister for trying. He's trying to make our safety paramount at the end of the day, and he's trying. If it's 100% accurate or not, it's a different story. We've heard one of professors speaking from a scientific point of view, saying it's not 100% accurate, but it's somewhat accurate. And if it means it's somewhat accurate, it means we're somewhat going to be, well, more at large safety than not safety. So why not? So be it. Let's do it. He's done. He's done bigger, better. Well, tried to do better infrastructure on the hospitals, roads, airports, as we know. He's done a lot. He's done a lot. So did Tony Blair do a lot. But like I said, might be a time when Boris Johnson becomes fascist. It might be, a mental health turning point where people keep criticising him. That's what happens. A mental health spurge. Criticism can lead to that. Make you become fascist towards something. An outrage, a spurge, where, disagree to agree and you come out with a big fascist statement. It can happen and you lose your seat in the parliament, you lose your seat as prime minister. It can happen to any of us. It can happen to my radio station, my political views. But I'm not rational in the way I think and say things. You've got to be careful the way you dictate things, which is a fascist, a dictator in the wrong direction is a fascist. That's why I'm careful the way I dictate what I say with the BLM. I know where it started. I know how it started. I know what's been going on, but why has it been going on? Where has it been going on? And why hasn't it been accepted? That may be the reason why it's gone into a bit of an extremist, like they're saying, because people are not accepting what they was trying out from the start. Maybe they rubbed people up the wrong way. Same as Labour almost got kicked out, didn't they? They've been watched by a watchdog through the anti-Semitism about the Jews. You've got to be careful. Walking on a tightrope with lots of things. You've got to be careful how you bring your political organisation through to get accepted in the government. Anyway, moving on, guys. Moving on. As you know, I'm conservative. Conservative, yeah, but I am conservative. Understand what they stand for. Absolutely. That's why I'm conservative. Boris is a lot similar to Tony Blair, and he was helping Tony Blair a lot when it comes to NHS treaty that pulled through magnificently, may I say. That's one of his magical things that Tony Blair done. But his extremist thing that he done, no, fascist, sorry, his fascist thing that he done was fled our country. Brexit. Boris Johnson says powers will ensure UK cannot be broken up. Boris Johnson has said the UK must reserve the right to override the Brexit deal to protect the country's economic and political integrity. The PM said legislation was needed to resolve tensions in the EU-UK deal. He said it would ensure the UK could not be broken up by foreign power and the EU was acting in an extreme way by threatening food exports. Labour said the PM had caused the mess by reneging on a deal had previously called a triumph. The internal market bill is expected to pass the first parliamentary test later, when MPs vote on it at 22 BST. Despite the reservations of many MPs, it gives the UK power to break international law. A number of Conservative MPs have said they will not support the bill as it stands, and some could register their concerns by abstaining. I think the hard border should have been put up. To control immigration growth. Like I said, Nigel Farage was, for once, I actually acknowledged something good he said. All politicians say something good, and I will give them a bit of encouragement when they say something. Nigel Farage was pretty good what he said, but he's done some very fascist stuff in the past, as we know, when he was down in Clacton on Sea, and he was under what was the name of that political party started out years ago. I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, when he's down in Clacton started that political party, he done a lot of stupid fascist stuff back then. He's come back more mature, regenerated his political views. He's better himself, but still nicking Brexit of Article 51 of Theresa May Brexit Party. But no, he does come out with some good stuff. He does come out with some good stuff. Today he did as well. He come out with some good stuff on the LBC today. I was listening in. He's somewhat quite clever. UK left the EU on the 31st of January, having negotiated and signed a withdrawal agreement with the bloc. A key part of the agreement, which is now an international treaty, was the Northern Ireland Protocol designed to prevent a hard border returning the island of Ireland. Yeah, he said, I think it was it 22 ships of imported to our sand, the gravel stones of our beaches of illegal immigrants. So they're gonna be exposed for our town cities and move in. A hard border hasn't been approved yet. A hard border hasn't been put up to support our population growth. The internal market bill proposed by the government would override that part of the agreement when it comes to the movement of goods between Northern Ireland and Britain, and would allow the UK to reinterpret state aid rules and subsidise from firms in Northern Ireland in the event of the two sides not agreeing a future trade deal. Before I move on, I mean, I'm pretty sure, if you're from Romania, Albania, Polish, Iraq, Iran, Russia, if you're in the UK, I'm pretty sure, you got your English passport, you're allowed in that country, same as we in yours. You wouldn't want population growth, because we're quite a small country, the UK. You wouldn't want population growth to take over our society and sink England, you know, sink our economics, because we can't afford to keep Britain and the power, the power supplies. We haven't got the supplies to keep everyone going. Surely not. For so long, we're going to. They said in the Bible, all Bibles of all ethnicities, all religions, man will destroy the world. We all know that. The population growth is a big thing. It's the way they produce it through Parliament without being. Obviously, they wouldn't do that, and the politicians are trained not to be fascist. But some come out with some. I don't know. I think they must. Some of them are drinking in Parliament. I understand that, so they do come out with some stupid stuff. You've got to be on the ball with how you come out with these statements. Even when you speak to media, you don't want to be coming out as politicians. You don't want to be coming out in public and spurting a load of spill out because it'll come out. It'll come out an absolute disgrace, I'm sure. As Nigel Farage has done in recent years. No disrespect. I really like the bloke. I'll say Geezy. I'm not on Netflix no more. I am, but not while I'm doing a radio station. I actually like the fella, the politician. He's come back bigger and better, more formative. Protective powers. Speaking at the start of the 5-hour debate, the PM said the bill should welcome by everyone. Who cares about the sovereignty and integrity of the UK? He said the UK has signed up the finally balanced withdrawal agreement, including Northern Ireland Protocol, in good faith, and has committed to honouring the obligations, including the introduction of light touch checks on trade between Britain and Northern Ireland. But he said additional protective powers were now necessary to guard against the EU's proven willingness to interpret aspects of the agreement in absurd ways, simply to exert leverage in the trade talks. I thought I had the whole understanding of the EU and the Brexit agreement. I thought we was going to keep the Brexit going. I wasn't too sure about obviously a trade policy agreement with the when's Brexit. I knew obviously the hard border was going to stop illegal immigration, just to keep track of crimes, keep track of population growth. But the trade deal, I was getting a bit confused. I'm thinking, have we got enough English stuff to keep us, motivated? What if they shut our mobile phone devices up? Most of our mobile phone devices come from Japan, China, all them sort of, countries. What happened to that happen? Literally all our trade deals stopped. Everything stopped. Would we still be able to motivate? I mean, a Virgin one, are they, is that UK one or US? I'm not sure. Vodafone is English, but the actual mobile phone devices are made from foreign people. Our doctors, very intelligent, not usually British because they're very intelligent, unfortunately. But yeah, you know, I don't know about the trade deal. That's what I'm saying. I don't know too much about the trade deal. That's all I know. We cannot tolerate now is a situation where the EU counterparts seriously believe they have the power to break up our country, told MPs. We cannot have a situation where the very boundaries of our country can be dictated by a foreign power of international organisation. He also suggested the EU was threatening not to allow British firms to export products of animal origin to either of the continent of or Northern Ireland. I think Boris wants to try and support them with food through this, this crisis we're going through at the moment, and the EU are not liking it. That's what I'm thinking. That's how I was listening to it earlier. Absurd and self-defeating as the action would be, the EU still have not taken this revolver off the table. He told MPs. I mean, I listen to so much politics 24/7. It's hard to, keep my brain sponge-like brain on the ball with everything. However, he sought to reassure MPs that their powers were an insurance policy, and Parliament would be given a vote before they were not ever invoked, insisting I have absolutely no desire to use these measures. We're looking at hooliganism, former Labour leader Ed Miliband standing in for Sir Keir Starmer after Labour leader was forced to self-isolate at home, said the very act of passing the law would constitute a breach of international law. I mean, Sir Keir Starmer, if he had it, obviously you can't help it with what Jeremy Corbyn and Tony Blair's done, and then obviously you've got that idolism. He didn't have a bad start, did he? He didn't have a bad start to his Labour, to being the head of Labour. You can't knock him. He hasn't gone in like Jeremy Corbyn. He's doing his own thing. But then today he's defending Tony Blair, which is big no to do. Tony Blair, I don't know. I don't know what to make of Tony Blair. I thought that was a strange thing to do, to leave Britain in jeopardy after what he'd done and then hide. That's really, really bad. Boris Johnson says he'd die for his own country to get past Brexit. That shows that he's going to stand united with the nation. But if it comes to crime, could he run? We don't know. But I like Boris for what he's done so far. Same as I did like Tony Blair for what he'd done. But there's a lot of Boris backing as well. He told MPs the PM could not blame anyone else, having drawn up and signed the Brexit deal himself. I think it's 1995, maybe 94. When I was going into Royal Marines for the 3-day training, my mum had cancer. That's when Tony Blair and Boris backed it. I know for a fact Boris backed the NHS thing to get passed for bigger, better. Also, all the equipment for the cancer thing. My mum had cancer at the time, so I know that for a fact. That was a backing of Boris. I know that for a fact. That made a big difference for mum still being alive today. So I'm happy for that. Very, very happy for that. I'm happy, Tony Blair, tried to get it through, but Boris backed it to get it through in a tutorial review, and it got passed through in, I think, 95 or 96. You can check that. You can check my allegations are correct, because I know for a fact. I was reading about it in 2019, possibly 18. The start of when I got to Hertfordshire. Was that 2019 possibly, or just before the Christmas in 2009, which would have been 2018, at the end of. It is his deal, it is his mess, it is his failure, he said. For the first time in his life, it is time to take responsibility and to fess up, he said. Either he was not straight with the country in the first place, or he did not understand it. My mum went to White Notley, or was it Black Notley Hospital? I mean, all that was going on. He added, this is not just legislative hooliganism on any issue. It is on the most sensitive issue of all. Among Tory MPs to speak out were ex-ministers Andrew Mitchell, Sir Bob Neill and Stephen Hammond. Conservative MP Charles Walker said the EU was a pain in the neck, but urged the government not to press nuclear button before all other options had been exhausted. I'm not going to be voting for this bill at the second reading because if you keep whacking a dog, don't be surprised when it bites you back, he said. Former Chancellor Sajid Javid has joined the ranks of potential rebels, saying he could not see why it is necessary to preemptively renege on the withdrawal agreement. Brexit international law is never a step that should be taken lightly, he tweeted. It is not clear to me why it is necessary for the UK to break international law. I regretfully unable to support the UK bill, internal market bill unamended. Statement by Sajid Javid MP in advance of the second reading of the United Internal Market Bill. One of UK's greatest strengths and traditions is respect for the rule of law. Our long-standing reputation for keeping our word has made us a more stable, peaceful and prosperous nation. Breaking national law is a step that should never be taken lightly. Having carefully studied the UK Internal Market Bill, it is not clear to me why it is necessary to do so. While I fully back every measure necessary to get the withdrawal agreement negotiated and passed by Parliament, I cannot support the UK preemptively reneging on that agreement. I will therefore regretfully be unable to support the bill at its second reading. The urge of the government to amend it in the coming days. The EU is certainly guilty in its negotiations on treating the UK like the close partner we are. If it does indeed act in bad faith by reneging of the withdrawal agreement, then we should not only use safeguard enshrined within the agreement, but also reserve the right to respond in a kind to affirm our sovereignty of the Union. I'm optimistic that both sides can still agree on a trade deal. As from Sajid Javid, a senior government source told BBC all options are on the table in terms of possible actions against Tory MPs who do not support the bill. I was certain that Brexit has already passed its legislation. Obviously, they've got to wait till January for it to go forward, but now they're in talks of EU might be suing the Brexit for it going forward. How can that possibly, when everybody was, putting the rights and everything going through already? The bill, which set out to trade between nations of the UK, will operate after UK leaves the EU single market. Here we go, 31st December. Is likely to face more difficulties in later stages, especially in the House of Lords. The DUP's Sammy Wilson welcomed the bill, but said his party still had concerns and would be tabling amendments to ensure Northern Ireland is not left in a straitjacket, and our businesses are not weighed down by unnecessary paperwork when trading with the United Kingdom. I thought, especially Boris, I don't think he's going to leave Ireland out. I really don't think Boris should, he's not the sort of person to leave Ireland out. The SNP, Ian Blackford, said the bill was the greatest threat to devolved government in Scotland since the establishment of the Scottish Parliament 20 years ago. We're discussing the details of a bill which the government casually and brazenly admits breaks international and domestic law, he said. 5 former Prime Ministers have raised concerns about the bill, including Boris Johnson's predecessor Theresa May, who is absent from Monday's debate as she was on the visit of South Korea. Speaking earlier on Monday, David Cameron said passing an Act of Parliament and then going to break an international treaty obligation should be an absolute final resort. Absolutely. You know what? Someone's gone back to Ireland because they're worried about all this going back. I mean, there were my friends that I will speak to them, but I didn't get up to what they got up to. They're nice lads to me, but what they've done out of sight is a different story. I won't. It's not, neither are there for me to speak about. It wasn't my cup of tea. That's all we need to know. But they're nice lads. They moved back to all this going on. Maybe they're a bit worried that they won't be welcome anymore. Move back to Ireland. Coronavirus, support ball of six breaches. Minister urges. I mean, it's like I say, it's good and bad on all ethnicity. I do like. There's some really good Irish people I know through boxing. Very, very nice people. You know, very educated. They're looking after the youth today, youth society, getting them off the streets. That's an amazing thing to do. Any sport, football, basketball, hockey, martial arts. I don't condone violence, but they're not using it as violence, using it as support, and they're professionals, so they're doing their job correct. So I take my hats off to people that are coming here from all over the globe. Doesn't matter if you're a doctor from Iran, it doesn't matter if you're a doctor from Jamaica. As long as you come here to be professional, why shouldn't you be here? But obviously, like I say, population growth. We need that. That's what the Brexit hard border is about. Let's go with it. Can stop population growth. Simple as that. It's not discriminating anyone. It's just the facts. People should report their neighbours for any suspected breaches of new rule of six. Limits on social gatherings. It says the Prime Minister said. The Prime Minister said. I was about to say that as well. I was writing a sentence without realising a mistake. Kit Malthouse urged residents to pass on details of suspected law breaking through non-emergency numbers. From today, new rules restrict indoor and outdoor gatherings in England and Scotland and indoor groups in Wales. They come after the UK's reproduction or our number escalated to between 1 and 2. The first time since March. There There were a further 2,621 unconfirmed cases of coronavirus in the UK on Monday, a fall after 3 consecutive days with more than 3,000 positive tests, but there have been widespread concerns about the availability of testing. 9 more deaths were reported within 28 days of a positive test. Asked on BBC Radio 4's Today programme whether a person should report a gathering of 7 or more in a neighbour's garden, Mr. Malthouse said it is open to neighbours to do exactly that through the non-emergency number. And if they are concerned and they do see that kind of thing, then absolutely they should think about it. The Crime and Policing Minister added there were discussions about what reporting mechanisms there might be, but there is obviously the non-emergency number 101 that people can ring and report issues they wish to. National Police Chiefs Council (NPCC) Chairman Martin Hewitt denied that enforcement of Law 6 replied on people grasping up their neighbours. It relies on all of us being responsible, he told BBC Breakfast. BBC Home Affairs correspondent Daniel Sanford said guidance to police forces in England on how to enforce the rule was not yet ready, so people are unlikely to be fined for a few days. Meanwhile, Professor Bobby Duffy, director of King's College London Policy Institute, told the BBC that 1 in 20 people said in a survey of attitudes during the pandemic that they had reported others for rule breaches. We're looking at Labour. Sir Keir Starmer told BBC he backed the rules, adding you can make the argument of why not 5 or why not 6 or 7. Why to go with a number backed by the science? And they say 6. And I think we should abide by that rule. That's one thing I do like about Sir Keir Starmer. He doesn't always back a prime minister's plan, but he's adamant that he knows our prime minister is above him, and he acknowledges it. We can hear in his statement here. That's what I like about him. Obviously, all our different political leaders are trying to better themselves more than the prime minister to better their position in their own politics. But here he's acknowledging and he's encouraging what the prime minister's doing. It's good. That's good academic, good structure to have. He's coming out of good formation with politics. He's not trying to write off the prime minister all the time. He has to in certain situations show his knowledge, but he's not always correct. He makes some mistakes, especially back in Tony Blair to a full degree, because Tony Blair wasn't amazing, somewhat, little bit amazing, but not to leave your country in jeopardy. Later, it is announced Sir Keir Starmer would self-isolate after a family member showed possible coronavirus symptoms. Like I said, I liked Sir Keir Starmer's position from it is the day off over Jeremy Corbyn. Like I say, a lot of people will like Jeremy Corbyn because he had a lot of friends in the Muslim culture. He's loved by the Muslim culture, but he's hated by the Jews. The new rules come into force amid reports that the UK's testing systems are overwhelmed, with Scotland's First Minister Nicola Sturgeon expressing serious concern over what described as a backlog of results in the lab network. This lady, I was a bit, I jumped on her back a couple of years ago, but the more and more I started to like a little bit at the start, but then she said this thing about population growth, and then you see why she done it. You see why she done it, letting people from Syria, exactly what Jesus done. But I jumped on the back, but then you realise all our lawmakers are in religion, and you can see why they do certain things, helping Syria. Alice Wiseman, Gateshead, Director of the Public Health, told the BBC local authorities had requested a mobile testing unit on Saturday, only to see it arrive a day late, with dozens of people directed elsewhere for tests. We're not able to do contact tracing unless we have a positive result, she said. In theory, there are potentially people walking around with COVID who just don't know. Doris Ann Williams, Chief Executive of laboratory testing industry body, the British in Vitro Diagnostic Association, said delays to testing were being caused by lack of staff, and they were trying to desperately recruit more to increase capacity for winter. As a new law on gatherings came into force, police in Bristol will soon explain the changes to confuse members of the public. One mum was told her toddler's picnic, a group of seven, was now illegal. It's very difficult to understand though. If I'm allowed to be in a pub with a group of people a metre apart, I can't be with my kids' friends, she replied to the officer. I wonder how the pub works. I mean, people, if they're drunk in the pub, they're not going to be a metre apart, surely. Another woman, Nikki, said she thought a gathering of more than six was allowed because the children all attended school together. Groups like this would be allowed in nearby Wales and in Scotland, where children do not count towards the total. We could just go over the bridge and be with a much larger group of people, Nikki said. It does feel a bit unfair. I mean, I've been invited to a gathering at the weekend, but I'm one of those yes people. Not going to go with through. I never go through with a yes, obviously. Someone said I want to go to. It's like a bit of a gathering, but they all drink. I don't drink, so that was already me thinking no in the back of my head. But I said, yeah, I'll go. But they got two caravans, so that two caravans probably can multiply up about six, 6 to 12, possibly 8 people. So already I'm thinking, I'm studying politics. If I go through this, I'm like Mr. Hammond, Mr. Cummings, Dominic Cummings, sorry. I'm not Dominic Cummings. I'm not going to go through with it. I'm a bit of a yes person. I don't go through with my yes ever. Elsewhere, the new rule brought hobbies and clubs to a halt. Jackie Wadsworth, Secretary of Wokingham Brass Band in South Yorkshire, said their 28-person band was a second family, but now members would not be able to meet at the same time. They had hired a larger hall to allow for social distancing, but the new rules meant we are back to square one. The Rule of Six in England, held as a super simple by Health Secretary Matt Hancock, replaces guidance on allowing two households to meet indoors and previous ban on gatherings that exceeded 30 people. Under the changes, larger gatherings are still allowed at gyms, schools, places of worship, weddings and funerals, education and work settings are not affected. And new details of exemptions published on Monday revealed that shooting, yachting and ultimate frisbee were among the sports that could continue in groups of more than six. It's not all bad. I think it's just more, people that need policing. It's going to make criminalisation lower. What's going on here with my mic? It's making an awful sound. I think it's my battery dying, to be honest with you. Yes, my battery's gone. My battery's gone on my mic. Hopefully you can hear me, guys. I'm going to call it a short evening. Near done at a 4-minute shoot. Some Tory MPs have also urged number 10 to exempt young children in England and call for debate over the rules. We're literally nearly coming to a halt, guys. I'm really enjoying everyone's always support on my show. It's not, we're not publicised enough. We're not getting funded for my academics. I know I bring a good show. I bring a good cast. I try and popularise everyone from every angle. Groups large and sick can be broken up by police, with members of the group facing fines of 1,000 for a first offence, doubling on each further offence up to 3,200. But it emerged that fewer than half of the people fined under existing coronavirus regulations in England and Wales have paid their penalties. A letter from the Attorney General, written on 25th of August and published last week, he said 40% of more than 19,000 fines issued were past the deadline for payment and could be considered for prosecution. Ladies and gents, I am going to call it. I must admit, my eyes are stinging. It's getting late. We've had a late show. I've done a bit of a short performance, just under an hour. Um, yeah, I just want to get my voice heard, my voice supported in my political thinking. I know some of you guys are um, Labour. I respect Labour, like I said, but some of you probably don't respect Conservative fully. You don't suspect their party because you're Labour. I respect Labour to a certain degree. I respect SNP as well to a certain degree. But I'm conservative, but I'm also open-minded with politics. Open-minded with politics. I like to know where, why, and when with everything. Everything that's said, everything that's done. Same as the BLM. It was done through a statement because of what the police done to that young teenager that was innocent in 2012. And somewhat, I'm thinking possibly the global warming in Southwest Africa, water drought, food shortage, families dying, animals dying, that sort of thing. That could also be the reason. But in black and white, it says about the incident in 2012 when that young teenager got shot by the policeman. Obviously, since then we've had Floyd, but the authorities would trying to fight out of court because they somewhat quite a lot of facts to back the BLM up because it was innocent lives. But sure, on the other foot, like we say, there's been two colour policemen shoot the white lady with the scissors in her hand, which they should have manhandled her to the floor. But unfortunately, in the US law, they fire at will, without no conscience, without no thought. In the UK, they would have tried to they should have tried to they would try and manhandle someone with a knife or scissors because they're trained to. Just kick them in the knee. If you train, you don't have to train Thai boxing to kick someone in the knee with a knife in the hand, they fall to the floor, especially a woman and your man. Anyway, thank you all, ladies and gents, for coming in, giving the time of day. I appreciate the people listening. You might think my political thoughts or contributions are outrageous, but I have a good concept and I can fight myself out of a wet paper bag, not meaning through a masculine way, but through my intelligent way, because I know the way of the law, I know the way of the world, I know the way of the court, I know the way of the political movement and my political thoughts. Thank you. God bless. Take care. One love. Speak soon. Thank you so much.